Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a very exciting one because I'm showing you some things that I had been working on freeze drying, and I absolutely love having a freeze dryer. It's been so much fun, and I've freeze dried so many things. I've freeze dried fruit, vegetables, snacks, eggs. Eggs is a good one. I've freeze dried lots of different candies, meat, which I think is so fun, and I don't know, onions and all kinds of things. I've done like vegetable powders, fruit powders, banana powder, blueberry powder, all kinds of things to add to either baked goods or things that I'm cooking. And anyway, zucchini is one of my favorite things to freeze dry because zucchini by nature is it holds a lot of moisture. And when you're freeze drying it, obviously it takes that part out of it. So I've done zucchini slices for zucchini lasagna, and it's really helpful to be able to freeze dry them because, as you know, or you may know, zucchini lasagna comes out very wet. So I can't wait to try that. We've been very busy lately, so I haven't been able to try that yet, but I'm excited to. And this video was filmed several months ago. It's just taking me a while to catch up. But the next video I'll have coming out, I'll be explaining more what's going on in our lives currently. But anyway, in this video, as you can see, I use my freezer a little bit as a workstation sometimes. And that's just me taking the zucchini out. And this was the first time I think that I did the shredded zucchini. And I didn't expect it to be quite this dry. I thought I would have to run it through several times to dry it all the way because zucchini is so wet. But no, it turned out super dry. And the shredded zucchini, and it was not sticking together like I also thought that would happen. I don't know why. Anyway, so I was just overall super happy with it. But the shredded zucchini is good to put in zucchini casserole, zucchini bread, zucchini muffins, like all kinds of things with zucchini. You can put them in tomato sauces, whatever. I just really love having that to throw in there. And here I'm just showing you, it was kind of like styrofoam almost, but a lot of things that you freeze dry really turns out like that. So I don't know why I was so surprised. Anyway, when I got these all bagged up, I like to use the 1-quart bags because I find it's the best size for most of the things that I freeze dry. And after I put the stuff in, I kind of just eyeballed it. I think I did like 12 bags, I forget. And then I close it up, I push it down just to close it up lightly, not completely sealing it, just so the moisture in the air doesn't really get into the zucchini while I'm filling up the other bags. It's really important to try to avoid that as much as possible. Moisture makes it go bad, as does oxygen, which is why I'm putting oxygen absorbers, but moisture shortens the shelf life. And so, things when they're freeze dried like this kind of act like sponges and just, it just wouldn't be good. So that's why I do that most of the time. And here I am just sealing everything up, and then I'm going to be using my heat sealer, and I do a double seal on these. And I have the date on there, but it will last. This zucchini as is will last 25 to 30 years, shelf stable, as long as it's stored properly. So in a cool, dry, I keep them in totes environment, and then I keep them in totes, partly to keep them away from pests. We don't have pests in our home, but I guess you just never know. And also just to keep them from getting crushed. So yeah, that's how I like to do it. And so if they're stored properly, they will last a very, very, very long time. All the freeze-dried stuff. Well, most of it, I should say. Meat, maybe not as long because sometimes it has a higher fat content, and candy with a higher sugar might not last quite as long. But this, for the most part, the vegetables, I've done salted okra, and I've done tomato slices seasoned with all kinds of stuff, and those came out really good. And it's really handy to have, to be able to take along on a road trip or something like that, just to have something that's healthy and homemade, but also something the kids like. And here I'm just showing you some various things I had in the freezer for another cycle, and I did wind up doing one of those bags of tomatoes. I still have one in the freezer, and I was trying to just freeze them flat on that pan, but yeah, they weren't quite all the way frozen yet, and I don't even know how many tomatoes that would have been, but I got a lot. I took a trip to the farmer's market, and I probably got like $100 worth of produce. I got so many things. I got jalapenos, and I was going to freeze dry those, but we just wound up using them fairly fast. I actually recently just used the last of them. But yeah, my goal with the tomatoes was to make tomato powder. But, oh, and then there's some banana peppers. But the first bag of tomatoes that I did, I wound up just doing the tomatoes as is. And I think I kind of crushed them a little bit as I was putting them in the bags, but not really. And I do a lot in my food processor to powder things. I love to have the powders on hand. And like I said, the second bag will wind up probably being powder, but the first bag was just diced tomatoes. And those are both really great things to have. And you could kind of use the tomato powder almost like a seasoning or reconstitute it and make like a sauce. You could do all kinds of things with it. Here I am trying to use up eggplant, and this wound up being powder. I turned this into powder. And as you can see here, the way I'm cutting it up, it wound up being a little bit too large. And so I'll go through afterwards and just kind of chop things down a bit. But I'm just taking off the bad spots, and it had been a while by the time I was able to get to the zucchini because I had so many things from the farmer's market, and it was one of the last things I was getting to. Now here I am just adjusting my settings on the freeze dryer. Personally, I like to add extra dry time just in case the freeze dryer cycle ends maybe like right before I'm going to bed and I'm not able to process it, or especially if the kids are sleeping, I'm not about to wake everyone up running the food processor. But anyway, and I'm just showing you here kind of how I'm washing the eggplant. I just used a little bit of baking soda. That's all I used for the skin. I could have taken the skins off. I could have peeled them, but I think there's probably a lot of good nutrients in the skin itself, so I just left it on. And it didn't quite like grind up with the rest of the zucchini after all was said and done, but there's tiny little flakes of skin in there here and there, but you know what, it turned out fine. So, and that's really good to have to throw into sauces and things like that as well, just to bulk it up and add a few, you know, extra nutrition, I guess. Anyway, and you could use it for so many things as well. Again, like I said, I love having the powders on hand. So yeah, I did not get as much zucchini as I would have liked. A lot of that went bad pretty fast. But anyway, I did get quite a bit. And the zucchini freeze-dried fairly fast, I think. I wish I could remember the exact time. Maybe I'll show it later. I don't remember. So as you can see here, I just have my freeze dryer pans laid out so I can just dump the eggplant right on there, and it worked out really well that way. I just kind of made them as evenly or as even as possible. I did not have liners for these pans. I don't have those at all. I've never used them. Sometimes I kind of cut up parchment paper if I was using something that I really thought would benefit from it, but for the most part, I never line them with anything. They're not that hard to clean because when you're freeze drying something, it just is completely dry, and I don't know. To me, it just seems like it's just relatively easy to clean up. Anything I've made so far, and I've done soup, I've done lots of different types of things. I've done liquids and purees and stuff like that. So anyway, but things that I might need to keep separate, like I've done little baby snacks too that, yeah, I should have made a video on those. I don't know if I did. I know I filmed it. I just don't know. I've been very behind on editing. So that's where I keep running into these issues. But as you can see, different outfit, different day. And I like to label bags. I don't know if I've mentioned this, but I always try to label the freeze dryer bags. As you can see, my kit comes with labels, but I still prefer writing the Sharpie right onto the bag. I like to label them before I open the freeze dryer and get everything out so that, again, I can limit the time that everything's exposed to the air. So, yeah, I like to label everything very thoroughly, as you can see. Well, I guess it depends who you ask. But I know a lot of people probably would have just put eggplant or maybe powdered eggplant and the date. But I just I don't know. I like to write as much as possible. There have been times I write what store I got them from, and I got a lot of these things, I think I mentioned, at the farmer's market, one of the farmer's markets that's pretty local to me, and so I just put that on there, just so in the future, if I wanted to, I don't know, if I wondered where it came from. I don't know why I would, but you never know. So yeah, here I am just powdering this, and my Ninja food processor does shut off after a certain period of time because I had to do multiple cycles. But so I powdered this a lot of pureeing. I don't know what you call it, not pureeing, whatever the word is. Anyway, making it into powder. I did that several times, several batches. I wound up getting, I think, 4 bags out of all these eggplants, and I have not used them yet. I still have them in storage, so that's pretty nice. I'm sure I'll use them for like a sauce or something. I'll probably add them to a soup. I'm thinking that's what I'll probably do. And that's going to be all for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and look for my next video. It's going to be a short one, but it'll give an explanation of what we've been up to. Thanks again. Bye.